Hello YouTuber, globe earthers and flat earthers. Here comes another video, Baumgartner Revisited. In the first part of the video, and the second part is about what I call the eye level of deception on Valti's blog. Let's start with the first part. I did a piece about the Baumgartner jump some time ago, and I was stuck a little bit on my YouTube channel. I welcome critics as long as they're respectful in tone. So back then they gave me quite of a hard time, like about the capsule leaning forward eventually, and there was a big discussion going on about the angle of the camera, what optics were used, and all the problems that come with it. I appreciate those critics because they help me to sharpen my knife, they help me to find potential mistakes and also where I make mistakes in my thought processes. So as long as critics are respectful, they're always welcome. Let's get to the subject matter because of a channel called Taboo Conspiracy. I was finally able to crack the puzzle, because back then I went through great lengths trying to find out which camera it was, and I actually determined it was a Canon EOS 5D Mark III or II, but that didn't help me because that camera has optics which you can change, so we couldn't really pin down what was used there. But Mr. Taboo Conspiracy, he has actually a quite good channel with high quality flat earth research. I recommend it to everybody who wants to know why people believe, or more and more people believe, that the earth is eventually flat and we've been lied at. Now, he triggered something with those 3 videos he recently posted, because there was a detail that escaped me back then, and that was a picture from the ground where the camera from the inside of the capsule is already filming him entering the capsule while it was dangling from the starter grain. And he rightfully pointed out that the horizon line on the ground appears to be in the same position as in roughly 40-kilometer heights. Now, I presented this to the scrutiny of my globe earthers, and I had a heavy discussion that about a point that led me into researching even deeper, and I am able now to let's say decode the Baumgartner picture even further than Taboo Conspiracy is, and add to the whole thing, because there was the critics about the camera angle. And if you look at this picture here, you can see that those superimposed pictures appear, and this is what globe earthers pointed out to me, that those papers on the door are not in the same position. So they concluded that something in the camera angle or adjustments of the camera has changed from the ground to the high up position. And I'm gonna prove behind reasonable doubt that this is not the case. And I will also argue a little bit about the claimed leaning forward of the capsule, which is as well guessing, of course, but let's go to it. I created some screenshots from the video. Taboo Conspiracy showed this video here in his sources, so that's where he got the picture from the ground. So let's just quickly go there and have a look at the moment when Mr. Baumgartner entered the capsular. So that was in the beginning of the video. Let's go to full screen, and that was about 22 seconds. You're gonna see him entering, and I took a full screenshot from that moment here where he's entering the capsule, and I added it into my graphic tool. And the second shot I took was in about 58, and there's also something I want to highlight, because here comes the glue, why there is a difference in those little paper notes on the door. You first of all, I want you to realize this is like a rolling door. It rolls back, and I will prove to you guys that what actually took place is that he didn't put the door quite as far back as it was on the ground, and so it's not in the final position. And actually, triggered by my critics, when I researched the camera, I can show you that there is absolutely zero change in angle or any other adjustments on the camera. And so that was the defining moment which showed me what was really going on here. Now let's go to the last pictures from the inside of the capsule. I think the meters, the last meters is 39,068 meters. That's also important concerning my topic with the eye level of deception, which is the second part of this video. And the last pictures are somewhere at 1 hour and 45 seconds. You see him sitting there. Okay, now let's change to my graphic tool, and I'm gonna show what's actually happening here. This is Baumgartner in his capsule in roughly 40 kilometer heights. And what I did in order to pinpoint that this camera has not changed at all, I put those pictures above each other, and I marked up some significant points in the picture. Let's go through them point by point. First of all, maybe concentrate on that top part here. I outlined that rim and those 3 corners up there. And if you see, there is absolutely no difference here. So the camera position hasn't changed at all. Now to further cement this, basically, I also did outline the rim of the door a little bit, and so we can also show that this is literally the outline. Good enough, at least, yeah. And then we just go to the back picture, do the same, switch on and off the marking, and you can see there is also no change in relation to the door opening. Now another point I marked up a little bit was this little camera here in the corner. What I basically did is I highlighted this connector and the little camera, and then when you go ahead and go to the bottom view, you see that the camera is exactly in the same position. Now the last one I marked up was those instruments down there, basically in the center of the instrument, and also here it's obvious. You can see that they are exactly where they have been on the ground. So I guess this one is debunked and can finally not be used as an argument anymore. The camera did not change any of its adjustments on the way up. Now, so this argument is gone, basically. So I wanna elaborate a little bit on this eye level here. What I found out is basically that, like Taboo Conspiracy rightfully pointed out, the horizon line on the ground is in the same position in the picture, and if this capsule would lean in any direction whatsoever, that would mean the leaning forward or backward or whatever would be exactly the same in 40 kilometer heights than it is on the ground. Now when I go to the second part of the video, there will be some interesting thing which is also important concerning Baumgartner. That's why I decided to put it together. Now we just go directly to the second part of my video, which is basically the eye level of deception, at least so that's how I call it now, and that has to do with Walti's block. Walti's block is providing the community of both sides with a simulator for the drop you should actually perceive when you are in different positions above the ball-shaped spherical body of our planet. Yeah, and I just punch in the number now for the last position we have from Baumgartner. And I guess this is what most people would do when they come to his website. They would get following picture. And there is something slightly deceptive about this picture, and I'm going to prove that as well. I don't know if he did that on purpose, or if it's a genuine mistake, or maybe his confirmation bias, which makes him put the globe in the center of the picture. It's exactly in the center. Now, that would only happen if you have any optical device or an observer which would actually correct his eye level looking down to the outline of that spherical body, because the eye level in this picture is above the center of the picture. And I would say most people, 90% of people who maybe come to his website, they will be slightly overwhelmed with all the options they can have here, you know, all the stuff they can put in there. And it might escape him that the camera aim is put at horizon. Now, I think it's not really fair, and maybe Waltis Block should consider to have as standard option the option what an observer really would see in that height, which is the eye level option. Now, because this gives a completely different picture, it's basically much more dramatic. If an observer or a camera is looking perpendicular from the ground above that spherical body, then basically this is the drop that person would perceive, or that optical unit would pick up. And of course that's more dramatic than what we have when we use just the standard option. Okay, and I want to go and show you what I did in my graphic tool concerning that, and then also conclude with this video an interesting observation I made concerning the Baumgartner video. So that's important as well. Now, if you look at this, just let's finish off with the what I call the eye level of deception. I'm not saying he does that willingly, but it is a little bit deceptive. Now, the left picture is the picture an observer would really see if he looks straight out. Okay, and this is the picture the standard option shows. Okay, so basically he put the ball is exactly in the center, because that little box I created to find the exact center of that of this picture. Okay, I made a screenshot of it, and the exact center is basically where this red block is there. Okay, so that means the eye level is in the center, and in his standard options the globe or the outline of this spherical body is exactly in the middle of the picture. And this is the drop the person should see. Now, this blue line, you remember, this is now leading back to the Baumgartner video again, would be interesting, but I add one more line to the outline of that spherical body. And then we go and have a look. Now here's something interesting happening. Basically, the horizon line in the shot in 40 kilometer heights and on the ground is actually higher than what the simulator of Waltis Block is predicting. Now I think when you use the right option, eye level, Waltis Block is correct, because it should be at eye level, which is the center of the picture if you look perpendicular above the ground. So what I think, whether there is some information, picture information missing up here, or the capsule is really leaning a little bit forward because the horizon appears higher than the center of the picture. But here comes the kicker, that's the same on the ground. Okay, now also to highlight a little bit what this all should look like. So basically, according to Mr. Waltis Block, basically his view should be down here, he should see the outline of that spherical body down here. And I add a little gadget here, and this is maybe where we stop it, the whole video, or conclude. Basically, this is more or less what he should actually see. He should actually not see it like it was in the real world. If he was above a globe, he should actually see it like this. Yeah, so the outline of that body should be down here, really. Roughly something like that. That's what he should see. Okay, so here it comes. This was my video about the angle of deception with Walty's block, and I would suggest, maybe, like I said, you don't always have to think that people do things on purpose. Maybe it's a genuine mistake, maybe it's his confirmation bias, maybe it looked a little bit shockingly too much, and so he decided to make the standard option like this. Yeah, but I would say Walty should change that, and the standard option should be what an observer really would see when he looks over that ball-shaped globes, so to speak. Now, I think we finally can decode more, and this is interesting about the flat Earth movement. People keep searching, keep asking questions, keep thinking about what these different observations mean, and we get to the bottom of it. Yeah. So yeah, if you see that, the horizon line is in the same place. So that means if this capsule was leaning forward, it leaned exactly the same manner on the ground and in 40-kilometer heights. Okay, let's finish this video. I guess it's long enough, and of course in my videos is always allowed to comment in the comment section. Both sides of the argument is welcome, but I have one strict rule which applies to both sides. I do not accept any rude language, any personal attacks. Don't waste your time using rude languages or attacking anybody, including myself, in the commentary section, because I ruthlessly will delete anything of that kind. So that would mean you did all the work for nothing. Critics, absolute welcome, but just watch your tone. That's all I'm asking for. And I'm signing off, and thank everybody for their intention. Please feel free to download, re-upload, and like this video and circle it around so we can add more and more to the big community research we have going on here. Thank you, God bless, and goodbye.